Into the Action Not Talk radio show. Make sure you join him on Facebook at Action Not Talk. And now let's get into it to do it with your host, Kenwardo, and of course, Miss Shelly.
Greetings, family. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Action Not Talk Radio with myself, Shelly AmenSet, and Kenwardo Moore.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How you doing? How you feeling today?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm great. Every day I wake up is great.
Yeah, it's a blessing just to be able to wake up, you know?
Yeah. Would you like to introduce our special guest today?
Yes, we should. We should do that. As you know, we have a podcast show where we interview people and things going on in the community, people doing things in the community. And we had an author on our last podcast show, and we had technical difficulties. So he is joining us today so he can speak briefly about his book, and then he's going to be doing our podcast show on the 27th as well. So we have today with us Mr. Floyd T. Rounds, author of A Letter to Dalilah.
A Letter to Dalilah.
A Letter to Dalilah.
Floyd story, A Letter to Dalilah. Okay? And we can just go into talk about it briefly, because we're going to go more in depth when we do the next podcast show, and we'll have you as our guest again.
Okay. Well, first I want to thank you guys for having me this morning.
Hey.
As you mentioned, my book is titled Floyd Story, A Letter to Dalilah. And in the book I talk about some things that I went through in my life, some significant events. Mm-hmm. But while doing that, I go into depth about some critical topics that aren't being talked about out there that I dealt with.
Absolutely.
Such as co-parenting, that involved child support, child custody issues, paternity issues, which I go deeply into because a lot of times that kind of stuff is dramatized on TV, but people don't realize that men actually go through, finding out the paternity of the child, whether it's theirs or not, and you know what happens after that. So we go into that. I also talk about grieving and the loss of my little brother and how to approach the grief process. That's a pretty big chapter. And I also talk about relationships and marriage. I talk about, meeting my wife, courting my wife, getting married, and things I learned throughout that process. I think I'm still learning today about marriage. And I just talk about general nuggets of manhood and womanhood as well. Like ways to deal with stress from situations such as the ones I talk about in my book. Find different outlets, things like that. I talk about social media a little bit in the book, and I talk about haters in the book. I talk about a lot of stuff in the book that I actually talk about. So it's
a really good read, and you can definitely help a lot of people, especially a lot of brothers that struggle with the same thing you struggle with in regards to your daughter. Right. Like I told you before, I found it very entertaining the way that you worded things, the way that you wrote it. It was comical in some areas, but then a lot of areas hit you really hard. You know what I'm saying? So you did a really good job writing the book.
Thank you.
It's a good read, ladies and gentlemen. You need to make sure you get out and get that book. It's where can they get it on Amazon?
Yes, you can get it on Amazon. You can just search for the title Floyd Story, A Letter to Dalilah. It'll come up. You can also go to my website, which is floydstory.com. That's FLOYDSSTORY.com. And that has the links to the promo video that tells you about the book. It also has a link to the news outlet interview I did a while back, where we went in depth. And it also has a link to that was actually Amazon book where you can get, it'll take you directly to the Amazon page where you can buy the book and to get the version as well. Yeah. And I'm working on the audio version now. That's been tough, read the book. And
I remember
technical part. That's actually been the hardest part is trying to get the audio version out. But I'm working on that because a lot of people are waiting on that.
So. I say, tell us a little bit. First of all, tell us about Floyd's story. The Letter to Dalilah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is that chapter 6 or the main?
Yeah, the main.
The main. Yeah. Okay.
Focus.
Okay. Yeah, and the big part of the book that we talk about, what I talk about in chapter 6 is the story of Dalilah, which involves the daughter that I raised. Her name's actually Dakota. And in the book, I talk about how I met her mother, the person I co-parented with. Went through pregnancy, had the child. I supported the mother and the child pretty much financially. Even though I wasn't with the mother, I still supported her. And when the child was about 1 year old, she started to give me, some issues and flack, about, hey, I need more money from you. And I said, well, I'm already supporting the child. I'll support you. Throughout the pregnancy, I pretty much paid your rent. Even after the pregnancy, helping you with that, I'm not giving you much more. I'll give you supplies, but I'm not going to give you money.
Yeah.
And then she told me, say, hey, well, you know what? If you don't give it to me, I'm going to take you to court and put you on child support.
And then you also said it was periods of time where you went long periods of time keeping your daughter, and she wasn't even with her mother.
Right. I would say after probably the first 2 months, if that, I had the child with me.
The majority of the time.
Majority of the time. And I know for a lot of mothers, you can't really imagine that. But
yeah, the first 2 months of the baby's
life. It's a different kind of person, So she didn't really have that bond with the child.
Right.
I had the child, and my mother supported me. And also, at that time, my wife, who wasn't, she was my girlfriend. I just met her. We all was the one doing all this work.
Together,
and this person still had the nerve to ask me that. So throughout the process, well, when she said that to me, I talked to my family, and I said, I'm going to go for full custody of this child, because I'm the one that's stable, and I got to get shot. So I got my lawyer, and she asked me had I have a DNA test, and I said, nah, she kind of looked like my mom. And the lawyer said, well, if you feed somebody long enough and they around you long enough, they start to look like you. And I said, yeah, I guess that's true. So she said, well, get a DNA test. And then throughout that process, it was court ordered anyway. We ended up finding out that Dakota wasn't my biological child. And so that was the bombshell I had to kind of deal with, because, as I started writing the book, I realized that a lot of men go through this, where they find out kids aren't theirs, whether it's right away or it's 10, 20 years down the line. A lot of men go through this. And
that was the question I was going to ask you, like, how long did it take you before you realized that wasn't your biological child?
That was right before she turned 1. That's when
my
started kind of giving me the issues. And,
and
that's eventually we found out that she wasn't mine. So it was about 1 year old.
Okay.
So I found out kind of early. And then that's where I had to decide how to move forward with it. And that in the book, that's kind of why I go in depth too, because I tell my story and what I went through. But I also try to talk to other men that are going through this. I say, okay, you got a child here that they only know you as dad. So you got to think about that decision going forward. And if you don't have a bond with the child, man, if you ever have a bond with the child, it's easier to walk away. You might be like, you know what, my quality of life would be better if I just walk away. And some men, if that's the decision they make, okay. And some men, you have a bond with the child, but you still may be hurt inside, and you got to figure out how to move forward. And with me, it was like, of course, this person had hurt me. We can talk about later who this person actually is. But I had to make a decision. I said, okay, well, I can still get this child a good quality of life, or I can just kind of say, you know what, forget it. You deal with it. It's your child now. But if something would happen to that child, because I don't feel that this person could have taken care of the child on her own at that time, so I made the decision, to stay in the child's life for that.
Right.
And I don't regret it. I'm glad I did. But in the book, I talk about issues that came up later on down the line that I had to kind of deal with, because I ended up signing my rights away because I wanted protection from this person, as far as child support or anything like that. I didn't want any recourse. So I signed the form pretty much rescinding my rights to the child, but later on down the line, they would come to bite me. So I talk about all that in the book. I just talk about, my story's deep, but at the same time, I talk about other men that are dealing with it. My thought process on how I decided to handle it. And, great thing to think about as you deal with this child and this co-parenting situation moving forward, because other men are dealing with this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. There's a lot of men that have been through that. And also the other part of just having to go through a fight with the mother of just getting to see her, or you know what I'm saying, getting to see her, and oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and then just completely cutting the father off from the child's life. That's,
and that goes on a lot. And I think there's more than I saw a meme. I think you say meme. I used to call them memes, but the little meme.
Yeah, the memes.
There was one that said some children are fatherless because the mother wants to prove a point. And that's kind of deep.
Yeah, that's deep.
Like in my situation, it said, I understand that because I'm not seeing my child.
Because
of something the mother did. And my situation is a little different, just because You know, in a lot of situations, I have friends going through it. You know, their children's mother kind of withholding the child from them because they just have an issue with them, not really thinking about how the child's feeling. And in my situation, the person is a little different, to where she kind of backed up because she didn't want the child to kind of know the truth about some things, and the world to know the truth about some things. They know
trying
now.
to protect her reputation because of who she is.
Right.
You know?
And so she felt that just backing away, acting like this didn't happen, that was her approach. You know, not realizing, you know, every karma comes back around. And of course, this person has been in the news now, so they kind of talk themselves in the hole. You know. So it's just how it is. And I mean, it's just to say who it is. It's actually the Georgia State representative that's been in the news for the hate hoax.
Looking like, and like I said, I don't mean to cut you off. Like I said last month on the podcast, so you know I'm an activist out here. I live in Cobb County now, so I know a lot of activists in Cobb County. And she could tell you, as soon as I announced that I was in Cobb County, activists reached out to me, and we had a conference call about that. We had
about that situation.
2 conference calls about that situation.
So
and fundraising, all this stuff was going on.
I'm serious. So when you talking
that,
about, oh wow, so that's who we have as a state representative.
Right.
That's the crazy
part
about
this was going on, it was funny because, like, you know, people started hitting me up and they were like, "Hey, have you seen this video?" I was like, "I don't even really want to see it, but I'll check it out." And I just watched a few seconds of it. That's all I need to watch because I already knew that. I already knew what it was. People that know her, and it's not just me. It's a lot of other people out there that have dealt with this person financially and personally that have been burned. So it didn't really surprise us. And then people had already read my book by then, so they were hitting me up like, "You see this foolishness?" I was like, "Yeah, I see it, man." But you know, eventually. People go see it, and eventually it came back around that this particular guy wasn't really the guy that you kind of didn't want to mess with like that. You know, she did the wrong one, and he kind of, you know, went a little further with it to the point where she had to backtrack because she was just, you know, this is somebody that they like to talk the way in and out of things. It ain't about education, it ain't about being informed. It's about talking
and not just thinking about what you're doing before you actually you just going on impulse and just thinking you're going to be able to talk your way out of it. Right. You know, and that was just, you know, and a lot of people just saw through it.
Right.
You know, saw the truth.
And all that happened shortly after my book was released. So it might be a little correlation to that. You know, that you know, maybe word had got out and, you know, somebody wanted to kind of distract other people and ended up kind of backfiring. That's kind of that's my theory on it. But there's a lot in the book, though, so they're just bringing another element to it because this person happened to be involved with it. But, you know, it's a lot in the book. So, but
there's a quote that says, if you don't want nobody to find out, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this person went through all of that trouble and took you down through there just so that she could protect her name and her, you know what I'm saying? And it's coming out anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think the word that some people use, not just with this person, but in general, those kind of people, I guess narcissists, because, you know, and I write about in the book, like, I've only done good for this person. I never did anything wrong with this person. But some people are just kind of predisposed to take advantage of people. You know, it's just
that's crazy.
They just have
to.
Subconsciously, they just do it because that's who they are.
Right.
You know, they have they just, you know, some people just, that's what they do.
Yep.
You know,
and when kids are involved, that's when they kind of
that's the thing about the kid is involved.
The kid had to sit there. The kid already kind of knows how this person is, but they just have to sit there. And like, and with me, you know, I can go call and harass and try to see my child, but when you read the book and see everything that I did, I'm not gonna fight with you about anything. Because I'm better than that. I don't deserve that.
You don't.
You know, I don't. You know, I did everything right, so I'm not gonna fight with you about saying that shit. I have to wait. You know, pray to God that she'll be fine until I can deal with the child directly. And that's the decision I had to make. So that was kind of hard. And I talk about that in the book. It was hard for me to back up from the situation, but I knew that if I didn't do that, this person would keep doing what they were doing to me and my family, keep dangling the child, and other people have dealt with similar stuff. But at the point, I had to say, you know what, this person think I'm going to keep dealing with this because we love this child, so I had to back up. And the child kind of, you know,
just played on.
And at first, you know, I think, you know, that the child had to deal with it too, but I think now she kind of understands.
How old is the child?
Children are very smart.
She's 9.
Okay,
and this happened last May, so it's been over a year. Since all this happened, since my last falling out, where I had to make a decision to step back.
So children are very smart, and I'm sure she's already figured it out. You know, and she's been with her mother long enough to know.
Why would she do her child like that, though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know.
I don't know.
Some people have their own, you know,
why would
it's
you
for
do
her
it?
own agenda.
Yeah,
it's
but
her
still,
own.
why would you do a child like that?
She's not thinking about that.
That's
She's
bad.
thinking about
It's
how
bad
what
business.
she it's for
Bad.
personal gain. It's for personal gain. They don't have nothing to do with the baby.
Hey, God don't like ugly.
Nah,
What
he
comes
don't.
around
He
goes around.
You don't like ugly at all.
Trust me, what comes around goes around.
But people that know you, Floyd, know
Yeah.
that you're a good person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They
so
do.
they wouldn't think anything other than that in regards to the way that everything went down.
Yeah,
you know?
and people just don't really know the story yet. Like I released a book in June 2019 this year.
Yeah, so
And you know, so people have, you know, had the good book sign, and everything's been good. Been sales.
you've been pushing
good.
the book.
I've been pushing it, and I've been focused on the audio book now, so I haven't been pushing it as much. But I still get on Twitter, my Facebook page, and Instagram, and try to advertise it that way. But the story is kind of getting out on its own.
the audio book would be good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
People want
really
to hear
good,
that,
yeah.
and then with the things coming up as far as how something political is going to tie to my book. So
Oh, yeah.
that probably
See,
gonna
that's-
be more.
yeah.
So
Right,
all that
absolutely.
kind of happened on its own, and people are starting to get a hold of that now, just through marketing and, you know, talking to y'all and that kind of
But
thing.
you know what's crazy to me? As a political figure, why would you even put yourself out there like that? You know?
Right.
It's
I mean, just because you know your past going to come back to you. Come on now.
well, some people just
Some
act
people
on
don't
That's
think-
crazy, man.
Some people think they invincible, baby.
and they act on impulse.
Exactly.
They get
You
mad
know,
at somebody, they
That
act
goes
on
back to the
impulse.
whole
Yeah.
narcissist thing that you
Yeah.
were talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, probably
Narcissists
so.
think that they are, you know, they are never supposed to be held accountable for anything that they do.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
they have no accountability. They just do stuff and they just think, okay, that's it. I did it. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's no accountability.
Right.
So that's why that person feels like, oh, you know, I don't care, and I'm gonna lie my way through it if it gets to that point.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's how
Because that's how
crazy.
narcissists do.
Yeah,
they
they
know how
do.
to lie good. They know
Yeah,
how to
they do.
pretend. They know how to do all of that.
They do, yeah.
Play the game so good until everybody figure out who they really are.
And then once you figure out who they are, they still sit there
Yeah.
and feel like they accomplished something, even though they know that you know what's going on. That's
It's
just
mind-boggling.
Right.
It
right.
is. It is. And like when
Right.
people read the book, you know, you read the book, it's like it's just mind blowing. But what does somebody can actually do and keep it moving when it involves children? Yeah. So it is like I know I went. My story is unique, but I'm sure there's other men out there that found out that 2 and 3 and 4 kids ain't theirs. You know, and then they might be dealing with a person just like this, and they may not have anybody to talk to. So So a
Right.
good reason why I wrote the book was that people won't feel like they're alone.
Right,
When they go
right.
through these kind of things, whether it's even with the co-parenting and my whole situation with that,
And your brother,
when
the brother,
grieving,
because the
losing my
grieving,
brother.
that's totally, that's a totally different aspect of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You went through the situation with losing your brother,
Right.
and like I said, I've lost siblings. I've lost 3 brothers, so I know the feeling of having to cope with
you understand
that, and then you have all these other entities just coming into the picture as well. So yeah, it's a lot of it's something for everybody in that book. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
It's something for if you're grieving from losing a loved one. It's something for if you're going through the whole co-parenting thing and having to go through things just to see a child and stuff like that. So it's something in there for everybody, and then having to cope with that stuff afterwards. And so when you wrap it up, what are some of the things that you advise people that they can do to help them with the situation?
I would say, number one, if you have somebody close to you, talk to them. You know, if you have family, parents or wife, kind of talk to them about how you're feeling. You know, because sometimes you may think people can't relate. You know, but they might not be able to relate, but it's good to just kind of vent sometimes instead of just keeping it in. And just explore your options, too. You know, explore your options. Like if you're in a situation with the co-parenting, for example, if you don't have full custody, or, you know, you may just have limited custody, but you want more custody, look out for your resources. And that's something that I want to work on, actually put together myself, something to provide resources for men to look at getting more custody of their kids.
And we need
as far
more
as
resources
like legal
that.
and financial, that kind of thing. That's another project I'm working on putting together as an organization. So I say look for your resources to kind of help you with that. Even when it comes to grieving, if you lost a loved one, you know, they have a lot of free support groups out there. I know one that me and my mom went to was called what was that? I think I wrote in my book. It was called Compassionate Friends.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have chapters around Atlanta. You know, some for parents who's lost children, siblings. You know, who's lost siblings.
Yeah.
You know, just things like, if you lost parents, they have all kinds of groups. And that kind of helped me and my mom. My mom actually met a friend that she's still in contact with who lost her son around the same time. And, you know, I went to the group, and it kind of helped me out because it helps to be around other people who kind of know how you feel. So, So that definitely helps.
That's good. Yeah. That's good that you added that, you know, gave some outlets for people to use, you know, if they're going through those issues.
Yeah. So it's definitely a lot in the book. So I encourage people to check it out, you know, and just to really share it. That's the main thing, just to share it. So, I
shared it the other day.
People need to know about it, and I'm trying to get it out there so that, you know, more people can hear about it, you know, because even there's like celebrities that, like, you know, Ricky Smiley, people like that, have gone through situations similar. So it's like, I kind of want to get this out so people can know about it.
And I was thinking about Ricky Smiley because he does that show, Fraternity Test Tuesday, and he also is an advocate for helping men who struggle with being able to get custody of their children and don't have legal help because they can't afford a lawyer and stuff like that. So he helps men that go through that.
And every time I post something, especially on Twitter, I tag him in it. I hope one of his people will be like, hey, you need to check this out, because it's just crazy how so many people kind of deal with that. And then, like, you know, before all this came out, when our child was still around, you know, when I would hear them Fraternity Test Tuesdays and Maury, like, it'll make me feel bad. Cause you know, I wrote about that in the book, because I feel like, all right, this child's, and she, you know, she might not be watching, but I'm watching this show, and I know she's not mine biologically. It's kind of making me feel weird. But now that, you know, I've kind of released all of this, you know, now when I watch them shows, it'd be funny.
So writing this book was therapeutic for you well, right?
It was,
How long did it take you to write the book?
I'll probably say about 7 months. I started in October 2018, just kind of jotting it down, not realizing it would be a book.
Okay, you were just
then I kind of thought about it.
Down.
Then I thought about the different components. I said, I can write about my life, I can write about my brother, I can write about this situation, and just other knowledge I got. That'll be a book. And so I was done around probably early May. I started October 2017. And I think no, you know, that's right. I started, October 2018. Then about early or May this year, that's kind of where I kind of wrapped it up. And then I started the publishing process.
Okay.
Yeah, and that took about a month and a half. Yeah, I did self-publish.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I did self-publish.
That's awesome.
And I'm also working on that, showing people how to do what I did.
And like I told you, I'm interested.
Started doing self-publish.
Because I actually have an outline to my book. So when you ready, I'm going to be ready. Trust me, it's something I've been putting on the back burner and shit. Like, when you going to come myself?
But it's funny, because
Floyd.
I've come across people, like guys I play flag football with, Mason brother, you know, Masonic brothers. They'll be like, I had a book, man, that I finished. I just ain't done nothing with it for like 5 or 10 years. So that's also the other service that I'm working on, is to help people self-publish their books.
Right.
All the way from keeping you in line, making sure you write it, all the way to the publishing and
you like
the whole thing. I'm putting together something. So no matter where you are in the process, whether you just want to write a book, you need somebody to stay on your butt about it, all the way to help you edit and publish it. I want to help with all of that. You know.
Well, I need your help, man. Trust me, I do.
So prior to writing the book, had you written a journal or anything? Had you started a journal on like certain things going on in your life, like with your brother? Did you write a journal with that?
I haven't recently. I did. No, actually, when my brother passed away, that was back in 2008. I did kind of journal for a few years, but I did just kind of keep a written journal just about how I was feeling. And I also had an online journal that I started doing with a website. It's called Penzu, Penz.
Yeah, I heard of Penzu.
Where you just kind of journal, it's free. So I was doing that. Then I kind of stopped. And then also, when I was going to court, before I found out the truth about my child not being my biological child, I was keeping a child care journal of everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just about everything that was going on. So it wasn't really going on my feelings, but it's more about just documenting everything that was going on.
Down,
and I go back and read it sometimes. It is wild reading everything that I was doing for this child, like everything that she wasn't doing. And then that's why I also say in the book, everything I write about can be verified. That's all true.
Yes, he just turned it to everything. Just turned it to a book.
It's all true. I got documentation. I dare somebody to prove anything wrong that I put in that book.
Yeah,
and that to me that's why I take pride in knowing that this is a true story.
Yeah,
you know, my family was out there, and I'm talking about cousins, aunts, uncles who couldn't verify that I was there.
I mean, like,
and who wasn't there. So
really, that could be like a television show. Movie, yeah. I mean, I can see it. I can see the whole story, though. For real.
People joke about it being like a Lifetime or Tyler
I can see it,
Tyler Perry.
Right down the street.
BET and TV1 doing movies like that now. TV1, they making the movies and stuff.
And if you read this book, it's a lot in it to where, especially with the whole political part and this person being a state representative and kind of being public, you know.
Now, that's the catch. That's the catch, too.
That's it.
That's the catch to it right there. Because when you talk, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and I hadn't really said her name. I mean, her name is Erica Thomas. That's her name, but I hadn't really said because
that's crazy.
I want, I'd rather this person be linked to the book. I don't want the book being linked to this person.
Right.
I want people to know about my book and be like, oh yeah, this person is in this book. Not really having it linked. To
Right.
Because that's all. You make your bed, you got to lie in it. So I always want to be involved. I'm not that kind of person. I like to take the high road, but at the same time, if somebody asks who you are, I'm gonna tell them.
Absolutely, right.
But if people already now know who this person is,
everybody know.
You can go on YouTube and see the person.
See who she is.
So I don't have to really say a whole lot to where you be like, you ain't got to say nothing. I can already.
Oh man, that's crazy because I'm glad we didn't make a move on that. I'm glad we just because we had and then we set up another conference call for it, so everything was well planned. Thought we're not going to do it. So man, I'm glad we just didn't have a call. We gonna go out there one.
And I heard that right after that happened. Crazy. She sent out fundraising emails right after, like a day after that happened, raising money, and then once the hoax was kind of figured out that she would tell the truth, that money gone. I know nobody knows that. You ain't getting that money back.
The more you watched her talk about it, the more it just didn't make sense.
Didn't make sense.
The more it just didn't sound right.
That's been everything as long as we've known her. Everything has been like that.
So I was like, I kept hearing about it, but I never did see, how they, whatever they were showing on the news. I never saw it, but I kept hearing about it and seeing it on social media and stuff like that. And then I actually saw her talking to somebody about what happened. She was talking to a reporter or something, and I was like, that don't even sound right.
Yeah, and it's funny because if we look at her, it's like we see her doing this. I don't really look at too much stuff she in, but it's like we know there's a child there, but in the background that she never talks about, raised by a family that nobody knows about. That it's a whole nother story that you don't know about. And that's kind of what's sad is that you can go live this life because I ain't heard nothing from her since I called her out on telling Dakota the truth. I ain't heard nothing from her since. That's been over a year. She just walked away, and it's just. But it ain't just me. It's been so many other people out there that the same thing has been done to them. It's just it's amazing. And I found this out as I was writing the book and releasing the book. People been hitting me up. Like, hey man, I know what you're going through. This so and so happened to me. I'll be like, well, it don't surprise me, but it surprised me a little bit because it's just amazing how people can move through life like they're always looking over their shoulder because you're so many people that you've done wrong. That's a heavy burden. And I write about that in the book. It's like that's a heavy burden that this person has to carry every day. Then on top of that just have another child. Just another child that don't have the same support structure that the older child has had. And we talk about that as like,
but then that's selfish too of her to have taken that structure away from her.
Right.
She just took it away from her.
Just took it away from her,
And she's and who knows what she's going through now. That you aren't that positive influence in her life at the moment. So,
and I think she knows that I'll be back in her life. I think my mom talked to her around last Christmas, and I was able to talk to her video call or two, just not through her mother, but through my mother.
With
so
your
I was
mom,
able to talk to her, and she was doing good. So I think she knows in the future that we're gonna be here, and I know that she knows that now. So that's kind of where we're at. So when it's time to be back in her life, of course. It's things she have to deal with. It's things I'm have to deal with too. But eventually it'll be good to where we can be back like we were, and I can be able to be there for her without having to deal with her mother. That's just the part I had to cut out. So it's a story. Like my story is unique, but I know it's me and I go through the struggle, and the women that support the men and the families that support these men are also part of it. And in the book I talk about that when men are going through these, that it's other people involved.
Absolutely.
We're about to wrap it up. We got about a minute, so give us all where we can find you at. and all the
Sure.
information.
You can find me on all the social media on Facebook. Yeah. My Facebook page is you can search for Floyd Rounds Jr. -Arthur, or you can just type in @Floyd Story in the search. My page will come up. Twitter is @FT Rounds. On Instagram is @floydroundswriter. So all of those handles will take you to my page. And usually when I post a video or something, I post it on all the social media. So you can go on any one of those, whichever one you prefer, and see what I've been putting out. I got more stuff coming up. Of course, this interview is going to be on there too.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up, so I'm putting that on there. Just some of the things I got coming up will be on there. So in the audiobook, eventually, when it's done, I've been talking about it since the summer, but when it's done, there'll definitely be links to that.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
And my website, floydstory.com. You go to my website and get linked to all of that stuff. So that's probably the easiest way to go. Go to floydstory.com. And the book looks like this, so yours.
Right there. Right there.
Floyd Story, A Letter to Dalilah.
Right,
Please pick that up. It's a great read, everybody. It's a great read.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today,
Thank
Floyd.
you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And the podcast, I guess you told me the podcast.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have it back on.
We'll probably dive back into it a little more. Yeah, so that's coming up.
So on that note, Action Night Talk Radio signing out. Peace out. We love y'all.
Peace and light, y'all.
Yep.
Hang on, Kenwardo. Ken.
Yes, sir.
You got a big event that's coming up this next Saturday, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me, man.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the Soulful Extravaganza. Mapleton, Georgia at the Lions Club.
Taking place at 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock p.m. to midnight. There will be music. That we'll have singers, poets. We will also have some vendors there, great food, drinks, and some of the proceeds will go to help the homeless. Tickets are $25. If you bring a coat or a blanket, you get $5 off of your ticket. So this is also a clothing and blanket drive for the homeless. So you should take advantage of that. Because it's geared to help the community.
Help somebody out,
and you're gonna have a great time. The music is gonna be great. We're gonna have who's gonna be on the Wheels of Steel?
DJ Smooth General gonna be on the Wheels of Steel.
Okay.
We have the CEO of Confident Woman International Incorporated, Stacey L. Hill. She's gonna be the host. So, come on through. Have a great time. Network mixer. Fundraising is all for a good cause. And that'll be October the 19th at the Lions Club in Mapleton, Georgia from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. So, you can contact myself at 470-798-8527.
And there'll also be door prizes and giveaways as well.
Yeah, raffles, tickets,
raffles. We're gonna do. It's gonna be something great going on. You ought to check it out.
So come on through. Yeah, love y'all.
WIGO AM 1570, Morrow, Atlanta.